Hi, and welcome to this edition of Andres' Football Assessment. I'm Andres Fernero, and we're going to jump straight into week 3. This week, a lot of interesting things had happened, and we've seen new developments at quarterback. We've seen interesting improvements, and I have here on my list about 8 games to go through. Starting with the first one, Thursday night. The Tennessee Titans versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, which the Jaguars won 20-7. It was an impressive outing for either team. The only thing good that came out of that was for Jacksonville, and it was Gardner Minshew. But for the Titans, I can officially say they're not a good team at 1-2. At 1-2, they're not a good team. Right now, they got... First week, they blew out the Browns by 30 points. 43-13. Second week, they lose to Jacoby Brissett and the Colts 17-19. And then this week, they lose to Gardner Minshew and the Jags 20-7 with the whole team playing horribly. So, I don't know what happened or what snapped for the Titans, but overall, the whole team played horrific. The offense wasn't clicking at all. The defense was completely discombobulated. Gardner Minshew had a great game. Actually, he had a decent game. He had over 200 yards. He's proving his worth. Should you believe in Gardner Minshew right now? Yes. Is he 100% a great QB? Not yet. Jacksonville still has a chance, though. They still have a chance. Even at 1-2, they're doing pretty good. They had impressive outings against the Chiefs and Texans. I'll give them that. I feel like the Jacksonville Jaguars still have a chance, even though they have no Nick Foles, and the Colts are still playing pretty well. But we'll get to that point when we get there. Sunday afternoon, Dolphins versus Cowboys, one of the first games. The Cowboys win 31-6. Now, why did I include this game? Purely because of the fact for both sides. Josh Rosen has improved. Now, he only had over 170 yards passing, and he played the entire game. But I can officially say his cadence has gotten better, his awareness has gotten better, his accuracy has gotten better, and even in the game, he was trying to be the leader. He was trying to give the Dolphins the spark. And I feel like that's an amazing thing that has come out of Rosen so far this season. And I feel like that's just going to improve furthermore. Again, his game wasn't that good. Like, the Dolphins didn't play that good. But Josh Rosen, I can officially say, has developed. And I feel like he can become a great quarterback next year. I officially feel like he's the right answer for the Dolphins at QB1. But the Dolphins don't have any other answers for any other the other positions that are failing. The Cowboys are cruising to a good 3-0 start, but are they actually worth the hype? I don't know. First week, they destroy the Giants, 30-plus points, scoring. Second week, destroy the Redskins, 30-plus points scoring. This week, destroy the Dolphins, 30 points. You see a pattern here, right? But they're all against pretty bad defenses and battered offenses. Like, you can't give the Cowboys too much credit, but, I mean, you can give them the 3-0. Like, that's good. They're off to a good start. Dak Prescott, is he finally worth the payday? I can officially say he's improved accuracy. He's improved pretty much everything small for him to be their 100% number one QB of the future. The Cowboys have found their quarterback. They've had him for a long time. It was just a matter of him developing the perfect pass game. And I feel like as of right now, Dak Prescott has a great pass game, and their offense is clicking, their defense is clicking. The Cowboys have a future 100% in the NFC East. And I think it's furthermore going to improve. The third game we want to go over here is the Falcons versus Colts, where the Colts won 27-24. This is very, very interesting because not only did Andrew Luck retire, but Jacoby Brissett is surprisingly good for whatever reason. And I'm not talking stats-wise. I'm talking play-wise. There's been a couple of highlights and a couple of plays that I've seen from Jacoby Brissett in the past couple of games. I don't know what happened, but he has improved immensely since the last time I saw him. That year that he started for the Colts was absolutely horrific. His throwing was off. His running was off. Everything was off for him. And then all of a sudden, Andrew Luck comes back, plays for the Colts 1 year, 10-6 record, goes to the playoffs, wins against the Texans, loses against the Chiefs. And now, out of the blue, when the Colts seemed all but finished, Jacoby Brissett gives that little bit of hope that the Colts might just take the division. And it's proving. Jacoby Brissett has an impressive start to the season. I don't think he has thrown an interception. He's done an immensely great job at being the QB for the Colts. And I'm even more impressed that he's improved his game since 2016-2017. But even more surprising is the Falcons losing. Now, first week of the NFL, I can give them that, 28-12 against the Vikings. It's not supposed to be the game-defining point, or the season-defining point for them. But it kind of showed their struggles in offense and in defense. For some reason, the offense isn't clicking anymore. It was last year, and it was doing a great job last year, but now for whatever reason, the offense isn't clicking. And the defense is the exact same. We've seen it. And that's a huge problem. So not only did they bring back Dirk Koetter, but their defensive struggles continue. And now there's new offensive struggles. Like, this is not how the Falcons should be, playing. But I wouldn't give up on them yet. I feel like they have more than enough time to get things clicking on offense and on defense. But overall, the thing to get out of this game is Falcons, you still have hope. Colts, there is a lot of hope. Moving on, we have the Ravens versus Chiefs, where the Chiefs won 33-28. I saw the last couple of weeks where the Ravens won, and I have to say, this is impressive from the Ravens. I completely doubted their offense. I completely doubted that their defense would be good, but they've just impressed me. They've proved me wrong, and they've impressed me. I know that the Chiefs won this game, but in most, if not all of Ravens fans' eyes, they won. They had the biggest blowout in week 1 with a 59-10 victory against the Dolphins. That was a given. Week 2, they did really well. Lamar Jackson still showing his arm power, arm strength. Then this week against the Chiefs, Lamar Jackson had his kryptonite this game, though. I'll give the Chiefs the benefit of the doubt. Lamar Jackson had his kryptonite. This defense was his kryptonite. Because the first half, the Chiefs defense held the Ravens offense to 143 yards, of total offense. But then Lamar Jackson and Mark Ingram turned on the Jets. Second half, touchdown. They were coming back, and they were looking like they might have had a chance, but ultimately the Chiefs came out with a win. Patrick Mahomes is still doing Patrick Mahomes things. I feel like that's not a surprise to anyone ever. I feel like he is the best quarterback now, above Tom Brady, above everyone else. I feel like he's going to be the best quarterback for years to come. And I feel like the Chiefs are going to be that Super Bowl team for years to come. They're going to be the new era New England Patriots. But out of this game, both teams have a lot to be proud of. The Chiefs have a lot to be proud of the defense for stopping Lamar Jackson and Mark Ingram for the first half. But for the most part, they did stop them. And Lamar Jackson and Mark Ingram and the offense have a lot to be proud of because not only were they held to only 143 yards of offense, they came back in the second half and they produced almost a game-winning drive or game-winning outcome. Like, in general, the Ravens almost came out with a win because of Lamar Jackson and Mark Ingram just turning on the Jets. And I feel like that's a lot to be proud of for the Ravens. The next game is a very surprising game for me, and I started this game and I say this is the game of the week for week 3. The Giants versus the Buccaneers. Now, why did I start this? First off, Eli Manning was benched and Daniel Jones started. And even before the season began, I knew a lot of people doubted Daniel Jones, and even I laughed at Daniel Jones for being picked number 6 in the draft. But then I looked at his film, I looked at how he played, I looked at the circumstances he was against, and I realized he has a lot more talent than people realize. And I definitely saw it this game. Daniel Jones' debut equals a Daniel Jones win. Sounds nice? Well, given the fact that Matt Gay, the kicker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, missed 3 kicks, and Bruce Arians made a questionable decision at the end of the game to take a delay of game, thinking that his kicker would be better off longer distance than at the distance they were at, which is mind-boggling. I don't know why. Both QBs had an impressive game. I never knew that Jameis Winston would have done great things in a game. I've never seen it happen. The only times we've seen him go for 4,000 yards were in his rookie season and his sophomore season. And then after that, pretty much nothing. And I feel like that's a given because he's not really that good of a passer. But this game, he did prove he was a pretty good passer for playing against a terrible defense, if you know what I mean. Both teams' defenses were not that great, but I'll give Jameis Winston the benefit of the doubt. He looks like he's getting better over time. It's the battle of the QBs. In terms of overall shock, Daniel Jones had the better game, okay? But in terms of clutch, I'll give Jameis Winston the game. It was long gone in everyone's eyes almost for the Giants to win, and then Jameis Winston miraculously puts the Buccaneers close, but then Matt Gay just barely misses that kick to win the game for the Bucs. But for Jones, he had 23 for 36. It's a good completion percentage. 336 yards, 2 touchdowns, 28 rushing yards out of 4 attempts, and 2 rushing touchdowns. And that last rushing touchdown was to give the Giants the go-ahead touchdown to win the game, eventually. Winston went 23 for 37, 380 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. For Jameis Winston, I feel like that's a very impressive game. I haven't seen him do that big in a game in a long time, and I feel like the Bucs fans should take this in while it lasts, because I don't feel like Jameis Winston's going to be doing a whole lot of that during the season. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Jameis Winston does great. But in terms of how he produces in games and how he plays, I don't see Jameis Winston becoming a great quarterback as of right now. But that's my game of the week right there. Giants versus Bucs. Daniel Jones having an impressive outing, even when Saquon Barkley was injured, and he's out for 6 to 8 weeks. I feel like Daniel Jones is the number one answer for the Giants, and I feel like he is going to be the Giants quarterback for years to come. Next up, I have the Panthers versus Cardinals, which the Panthers won 38-20. I was thinking about picking the Steelers versus 49ers over this, but I feel like this has more significance than that other game, because the Steelers versus 49ers was just an offensive mind boggle. It was defense all the way. This game, it showed that Kyler Murray, he's struggling. He is struggling. The first two games, he had over 300 yards passing, which I thought was incredible for a rookie quarterback to come in first 2 weeks, throw over 300 yards for both games. The whole game, I saw about 5 times he tripped over himself, an offensive lineman, and I feel like that's a big, big problem. I feel like he's... What's the word I'm looking for here? Ecstatic, or is he just... Kyler Murray he's just too anxious to try and make a play, and I feel like he's running a whole lot more than he should. He's basically having a Lamar Jackson situation, but just a shorter and more accurate version of Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry about the coughs. I'm a little sick right now, but we'll get through this. Kyle Allen, who was the backup for the Panthers, a second-year quarterback, I did not know who this guy was until this game. I am not joking. I did not know that this guy existed. But he had a great game and a small workload for what it was worth. 19 for 26, 261 yards, 4 touchdowns, along with McCaffrey's 24 carries, 153 rushing yards, and 1 touchdown. The Panthers won. That was a pretty easy game for the Panthers to win, in my opinion. But Kyle Allen did show that he was a good quarterback. Good reads, good throws. And honestly, I think the Panthers shouldn't switch to Cam Newton anytime soon if he comes back, which I doubt. I think Kyle Allen is the short-term answer for now, and we'll see in later games if he becomes the long-term answer for the Panthers instead of Will Grier or Cam Newton. Kyler Murray had an okay game and didn't show good signs either. He went 30 for 43. That's a lot for just producing 173 yards passing. He had 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And get this, he also led his team in rushing with 8 carries and 69 yards. That's ridiculous. His workload was very, very high compared to the last couple weeks. I feel like Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray were clicking. It's just that this game, they didn't click as much. But they still have time to figure things out. And again, the Cardinals aren't looking like they're going to make the playoffs this year. So I would just suggest to Kyler Murray that he just get the offense down, get connected with his players, and just get better with slowing down, not running too much, and just focusing on throwing the ball. Now, Sunday night, we had an interesting game. Again, it's a very disappointing game in terms of offense for both sides. And it was overall horrific to watch. It really was. Rams versus Browns, and the Rams won 20-13 after a late fourth quarter comeback, down 13-10. The Rams defense is still great, but surprisingly, the offense needs work. I never thought I'd have to say this. The Rams offense needs work. I didn't have to say this. I wouldn't have to have said this last year because Todd Gurley was a monster coming in every week, over 20 carries, over 100 yards. Todd Gurley was a monster, but now they're shortening the workload because he's just not in it anymore. He's not that powerful. Or from what I heard, he has some sort of arthritis. So he cannot, like, take as many carries as he could have before. So the workload should be going to Malcolm Brown instead. And we didn't see a whole lot of that either. The Browns are almost clicking. I feel like the defense has found the click. The defense is doing great compared to week 1 and week 2. The defense is finally, like, getting themselves up. They're finally making some plays. But it's Baker Mayfield and the offense that's underperforming and playing subpar. The Browns are just overall a disappointment so far. 1-2 to start the season is not the way it should have went. For at least, in most fans' eyes, it should have been 2-1 with impressive wins against the Titans and Jets and a close loss to the Rams. And one of those things are true. Baker Mayfield, surprisingly, is having a blunder. This year, starting off, he's doing awful. We don't know why. We don't know how. But maybe it has to do with Freddie Kitchens. Maybe it has to do with the offense. Maybe it has to do something with the coach. I don't know. But Baker Mayfield so far has been doing awful compared to last season. This game, he went 50% flat in completion percentage. 195 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. That totals to 5 interceptions, people, on the season for Baker Mayfield. That is not something you expect from Baker Mayfield and this impressive Browns offense. On paper, they should be winning every game. But how they're playing, they should be losing every game. But the only optimism I can say for the Browns, really, is that the defense is doing well. Surprisingly. Right now, the defense is doing well. For the Rams, I would suggest looking more towards Malcolm Brown if you're not going to give Todd Gurley more touches. Malcolm Brown is a good running back. He has proven it over and over again. Jared Goff, trust more in Cooper Kupp and everyone else. I feel like that's a great idea. And I feel like the Rams are still a good team. I feel like they're going to be a deep playoff team. Those are some good things coming out of that game. And then finally for week 3, wrapping up week 3, we had the Monday Night Football game, Bears versus Redskins. And I watched this, the whole game. And I could fully say offense was not there. It wasn't there for both teams. And I even say both teams. I'm not even trusting Trubisky, okay? 3 touchdowns. Okay. Here's the thing. That amazing touchdown caught by Taylor Gabriel. I'm sorry, but that was all Taylor Gabriel. That wasn't Mitchell Trubisky. That wasn't the offensive line. That was Taylor Gabriel, okay? Mitchell Trubisky threw an inaccurate ball. Taylor Gabriel made an athletic jump and catch to get that touchdown. I'm sorry. That first touchdown he threw to Taylor Gabriel as well. He didn't see Taylor Gabriel until last minute. Until the last minute. Trubisky has not convinced me that he is a good quarterback at all. There were glimpses last season where I saw he looked like a great quarterback. He was the answer for the Bears. Right now, I am not convinced. I'm at a 60%. It was a good, solid 75% that Trubisky was a great quarterback for the Bears. Right now, it's down to a 60% because I do not trust at all that Trubisky can produce 30-point or not even 20-point games for the Bears. It has to be the defense. And you want me to prove that? The defense, 3 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries, and 1 touchdown. If it weren't for the defense, Trubisky would be 0-3 right now. I'm sorry, that's how it goes. The Broncos would have beat them, the Packers already beat them, and the Redskins would have beat them. I'm sorry, that's how it goes. If it weren't for the defense, the Bears would be 0-3 right now. And speaking of the defense, the defense did tear apart Keenum and the entire Redskins offense. But there were glimpses that kind of scared some people in the secondary that Keenum, Terry McLaurin, and Quinn were just somehow finding ways to get first downs and more yardage for that offense against the Bears secondary. Should the Redskins move on from Keenum and start Haskins? Not yet. Keenum has proven he's a good quarterback in the past 3 games, even. Keenum has done great things the first game and the second game. I feel like Keenum is good overall. Should the Redskins start Haskins versus the Giants? 100%. I feel like that's a good thing because not only do you have the bad blood of Dwayne Haskins being passed on by the Giants, you have the Redskins picking them up and the Redskins trusting Haskins. I feel like that storyline is going to help the Redskins get that jump start they need and get their first win on the season. And honestly, if I'm an NFL fan, I would love to see Dwayne Haskins and Daniel Jones battle it out. I want to see that game, 30-plus points on each side. I want to see that right now. Week 4, I want to see that. But coming out of practice, I think the Redskins are going to go with Case Keenum, and I'm honestly fine with that. Because Case Keenum is a decent quarterback for the Redskins right now, and he's going to be a good mentor and a good person to look at for Dwayne Haskins to learn in the NFL. That's going to do it for this week's analysis, Week 3. I feel like overall, a couple of these teams that didn't show up here, I wanted to talk about, like the 49ers and Steelers. I feel like the Steelers are exactly what I told you guys that they were going to be. Pretty awful without Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. And now without Ben Roethlisberger. But Mason Rudolph is finally playing for the Steelers, and that's a great step forward for the Steelers. The 49ers are making a surprising undefeated outcome. But Jimmy Garoppolo is slowly trying to improve from his last season's injury and everything else. And I feel like the 49ers are going to be a good team. For next week, I'm going to do my best in trying to get these notes as fast as possible for Wednesday. I know I missed Week 1 and Week 2. That's on me. I'll make up for that by trying to get in Week 4, Week 5, Week 6, and I'm trying to do this weekly. If I don't show up next week, I can almost guarantee you I will be there Week 5. For any time that I can do these episodes, I will be there to give you guys as much information as possible. But that's going to do it for me. I'm Andres Fernero. This is my football assessment, and this was Week 3 analysis.